My husband insisted he wanted an open relationship, but he complained when I slept with someone he knew. I'm Rebecca, and I need to tell you about the man I almost married, and how his hypocrisy revealed his true character. At 33, I thought I had life figured out. 8 years with James, the last 2 engaged, with our wedding just 3 months away. Everything seemed perfect, or at least stable enough to build a life on. The changes started gradually about 18 months before our wedding. James began expressing what I initially thought were normal pre-marriage anxieties. He'd wonder aloud if we were truly compatible or just comfortable. He'd question whether we were together by choice or simply by default after so many years. Sometimes I wonder if we really know what we want, he said one evening while we cooked dinner together. Like, we've been together since we were 25. How do we know this is actually what makes us happy versus just what we're used to? Because I'm happy. James, aren't you? I think so. But how can I be sure if I've never really experienced anything else to compare it to? These conversations became more frequent after his best friend Marcus got divorced. Marcus had been married for 12 years when his wife left him for someone she'd met at work. The divorce hit Marcus hard, but within a few months he'd transformed himself. New clothes, new apartment, dating multiple women. James was fascinated by Marcus's reinvention. Marcus says he feels like he's living for the first time in years, James told me after one of their weekly drinks. He said marriage made him forget who he was as an individual. Marcus is processing a painful divorce, James. Of course he's going to romanticize being single right now. Maybe. But he made a point about how people settle into relationships without ever really exploring what else is out there. How can you know you're with the right person if you've never seen what other options exist? I started noticing that James's doubts always intensified after spending time with Marcus. Marcus, who had always been charming and successful with women, was now living the bachelor lifestyle James had never experienced, and James was clearly questioning what he might have missed. The pressure built slowly over 6 months. James would bring up articles he'd read about couples who'd explored non-monogamy before marriage. He'd mention statistics about relationship satisfaction and people who wondered what if after committing too early. He'd reference expert opinions about the importance of conscious choice in relationships. I found this interesting study, he'd say, showing me his phone. Couples who had more relationship experience before marriage reported higher satisfaction levels. James, where is this coming from? Are you having second thoughts about us? Not second thoughts, just thoughts. About whether we're together because we're truly right for each other, or because we've never experienced anything else. The conversations always circled back to the same theme. How could we be sure about each other without exploring other options first? James presented it as an intellectual exercise, a way to make our eventual choice more meaningful, but I could see the real motivation underneath. He wanted to experience what Marcus was experiencing, but he didn't want to lose me in the process. 8 weeks before our wedding, James made his proposal official. I think we should try an open relationship, he said one evening, his voice carefully measured. Just temporarily, just to make sure we're choosing each other for the right reasons. James, we're supposed to get married in 2 months. The venue is booked, the invitations are sent, our families have made travel plans. I know the timing isn't ideal, but isn't it better to be absolutely certain now than to wonder later? What if we get married and then spend years wondering what we missed? I'm not wondering what I missed. I chose you. But how do you know that choice is real if you've never made any other choice? If you've never been desired by other men or experienced different types of connection? The argument that followed lasted hours. James had clearly thought through every possible objection I might raise. When I pointed out the timing, he said postponing the wedding would be more expensive than being sure about our choice. When I said I didn't want to sleep with other people, he said I was letting fear hold me back from growth. When I said this could destroy our relationship, he said a relationship that couldn't survive exploration wasn't worth having. Look, he said finally, I'm not saying I want to leave you. I'm saying I want to choose you consciously. Full story on channel link below.